So, Jack Catterall recently announced that he's got a new training camp for this fight. He'll be using Jaron Ennis' coach, and I believe it's his dad or his brother, Bozy Ennis. Um, and you know what? I don't even know how I feel about this, if I'm being honest, because Jack Catterall, he's got quite a distinctive style. So does Boots. Boots Ennis has got a very definitive style and is a very good um, boxer, in my opinion. Very good boxer. Of course, Boots is one of my favourite boxers that are around at the moment, right? Um, but him matching with Bozy Ennis, you sort of think about it and you're like, does that sound like a good mix of skills? A mix of styles? It doesn't really feel like it, if I'm being honest. I see that and I'm like, it feels like a bit of a weird combination, whereas Jack Catterall is largely either a counterpuncher or a jab and holder, really. And that's what he's a jab and holder, if we're being honest. He'll, shoot that jab to the head, to the body, double it up, hold you, 10-9 you all night long. That's what he does. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, he's not got huge punching power. He's not known for stopping guys typically. And now he's at 147. We'll see. Maybe he's got a bit more power at 147. We'll see. Right? His last fight was against Harlem Eubank. He was basically doing that, jabbing in, holding him, was doing that for the duration of the fight, but then a cut stopped the fight. A Harlem Eubank cut stopped the fight, and then that was that. And Harlem Eubank was getting outboxed, and he felt that, yeah, I was getting outboxed, but I'm the bigger puncher. I'm always one punch away from winning. That's how he felt in that fight. And when you've got that mentality, you're not trying to outbox the guy anymore. When you've got that mentality, you're trying to land the big punch. And against Jack Catterall, he's tricky. He makes it hard to land that big punch. Bozy Ennis is definitely the sort of coach that probably understands that. And, if he's smart, he's thinking, well, assuming we're only together for one camp, there's no point me trying to change you as a boxer. Let's just try and refine and get the best Jack Catterall in there. Just get the best Jack Catterall in the camp, in the ring, right? And yeah, that's probably the approach they'll take, because in one training camp you're not going to make Jack Catterall into Boots Jr. and you shouldn't try, because Catterall's not got the athleticism. He perhaps has the IQ, but probably not the confidence and the athleticism to fight a style like that, right? He's probably not got the like I said, athleticism and confidence in his chin to box like how Boots boxes, because in theory, Boots is open to get hit with shots, but because his movement's so good, he's not really there. But if you're putting yourself in the same positions and your movement isn't as good, then you might get caught, and that's that. Right? So, a number of different sort of moving parts there for Jack Catterall. But ultimately, even with this change in camp, I do think Jack Catterall will win this fight against Eko Essuman. Essuman, who's a guy who's largely only sort of mixed it around European level. Of course, his last fight was a win against Josh Taylor, in a fight that was a pretty comfortable win for him. Now, Josh Taylor started that fight really well. I was picking up those early rounds, but Josh Taylor, at that point, he was shot to bits, and Eko Essuman felt that he was there for the taking, and then just upped the pressure, just went into that next gear. Every time he needed to, just went into that next gear, and just shut Josh Taylor out, and won the rest of the rounds in the decision. And then, Josh Taylor retired literally after that fight. That being said, Jack Catterall is better than Josh Taylor. Ultimately, I think he's a better boxer. The first fight was very close. The second fight, even though it was close, was, quite clearly, in my opinion, in Josh Taylor's favour. No, not Jack Catterall's favour, sorry. So you're looking at what Josh Taylor was when he fought Eko Essuman, and then you're looking at what Jack Catterall will be. I think Jack Catterall's still got far more left in the tank. Still got far more left in the tank, and he's only lost to Arnold Barboza and Josh Taylor. You know what I mean? Like, those are only two guys he's lost to. And like I said, Josh Taylor was undisputed and arguably beat Josh Taylor. And then Arnold Barboza was a world champion, undefeated world champion in his own right too. Eko Essuman didn't fight at that, has never fought at that level. Despite, that was at 140, but Eko Essuman's not even mixed at a world level at 147, if we're being honest. you know. And if he did, he'd get outboxed. If he mixed it with top 147 boxers, your I don't know, not even Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman's not even at 147 anymore. Your Devin Haney's, your Brian Normans, these sorts of guys. That he would get smoked by those guys. He gets smoked by Brian Norman and would get outboxed by Devin Haney. Now, am I saying Devin Haney's, is Jack Catterall the same level boxer as Devin Haney? No, I can't say that. Devin Haney's a far better boxer than him. So, like I said, there's a lot of moving parts here. And I've gone on a bit of a tangent, but Jack Catterall definitely still got enough in the tank to beat the likes of Echo Esserman. And to be honest, after this, at 147, he should be looking at one of these title fights. Again, it's hard for Jack Catterall because he's not a huge name and he's not particularly exciting as a fighter either. So it's always hard to sell Jack Catterall fights, which is why even if he wins this fight, he probably won't get a world title fight, if we're being honest. Because it's hard to sell Jack Catterall fights. Like I said, it was hard. Do you know what I mean? It was hard for him to even get that shot against Josh Taylor. Do you know what I mean? It was hard to even get that shot. But yeah, we'll see. Because he's not a big name. Like Pacquiao wouldn't want to fight him unless he had to. Barrios would rather fight Pacquiao. Rolly would probably rather fight Pacquiao. And Brian Norman and Devin Haney are fighting. But if Jack Catterall can get a win here, he's in that conversation now. Because after Esserman beating Josh Taylor, I think that put Esserman fringe top 10. If Jack Catterall can beat fringe top 10, then you're looking at the upper end of the division then. Right? But like I said, it's so hard. I wouldn't be surprised if Jack Catterall fought someone lower ranked because he's a hard fight to sell. He hasn't got big punching power. He's not a big name. But that shouldn't be to his detriment in terms of how much he accomplishes in professional boxing, because he is a good boxer. And like I said, he can mix it at world level and he can jab and hold you to death, and he'll do that to you for 12 rounds. That's not an easy thing to do at world level. But yeah, I'd be super curious to know what you guys think of Jack Catterall. Do you think he's going to beat Echo Esserman? Do you think this change in coaching is a good idea? I'll be curious to know what you guys think in the comments below. And yeah, let me know what you think. Another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.